I don't have the video on because I look a wreck after today. I'm actually sick. But I just wanted to run through some things with you because I got a few questions. I want to make sure you know or feel comfortable with what is going on this week. So I'm going to start back in our original place with the banner here. Banner. And then I want to go through for week 2 what to expect for your dyad conversation and also your small group conversation. So the small groups are in announcements. If you go over here to the right, you'll see week 2 lecture and small groups that has a separate video. That video goes over the topics for this week, but also below that video link are everybody's names grouped into 3 groups. So you're going to have technically 3 different communication groups, right? You'll have your dyad, which is either 1 partner or 2 partners, and you'll have your small group, which will be 5 people. And then you'll have the larger group, which is the whole class. And those are the discussion posts. You can respond to anybody. And so each time you meet, there's going to be different types of assignments that are affiliated with it. So the first question about dyads, your dyad is when you're meeting with that one other person or 2 other people. Each week there's going to be a different prompt. So last week was really kind of abstract, just kind of feeling out the waters. And we know there's a lot of anxiety going into your first meeting, so we don't want to put too much rigor around it. So you guys can kind of like feel natural and don't feel like you have to meet certain expectations. But this week, moving on, you are working with your dyad pair, and the first conversation you're going to have is going to be to talk about how you typically show emotion or that how you typically empathize. If you have any active listening skills that you tend to utilize with clients or with family members to engage them, to make sure people know that you care about what they're saying. What does that look like to the other person, or what do you say to the other person to make them aware that you are passionate about what they're bringing forth to the table? I want you to have that conversation just about those little indicators people put out there. And if any of you guys work, I know a ton of you actually work in mental health or developmental disabilities. You might have training on the background of active listening. So active listening is, making sure that you're prompting somebody through a conversation, that you're nodding or whatever. Talk about how you actively listen to people, specifically, like what's your style. Then after that, you're going to do an exercise, and this exercise might be a little bit intimidating, but you're going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and then one person's going to go first and talk for 5 minutes straight. The other person is going to do all of those little indicators to make the person feel engaged. You can talk about any topic. The person whose 5 minutes it is to talk can pick whatever topic they want. It's going to be a back and forth, though, in that the other person has to engage the person in the topic, has to participate in the conversation still. And then think about how you did that. If you had to do it manually or did it come instinctually, things like that. But then you flip roles. The other person talks for 5 minutes about a topic. So I probably have a hard time talking for 5 minutes as much as you guys probably don't think that because all you hear is me talking. I can't think of a topic I could talk about for 5 minutes. Maybe my dogs. So I might talk about my dogs for 5 minutes. And then the person that I'm working with might chime in, might ask questions, figure out what your style is to engage the other person. The point is to acknowledge things that you might usually not acknowledge, right? So, like, I have a friend of mine at work, actually. She is amazing at engaging people because she can ask somebody questions about things I've never even fathomed. So she'll do something like, "Oh, I see you have artwork on the wall. Who's your favorite artist? What's your favorite piece? Blah, blah, blah." I never think of that. So it's like that's just a skill set she has, but that's how she engages the person she's with. So the point is just to know what your style is, understand yourself, and how you communicate to others. That is the dyad. There certainly isn't an expectation or rubric to go about it. It's just something that you want to go through to kind of really learn about yourself and your partner. Beyond that, you're also going to meet with your small group, which is that 5-person group. That group is going to get together. They're going to do the same things you did last week with your dyads, like work out kinks in your technology, what is going to work best. Honestly, your best bet's probably going to be to have a Zoom conference because not everyone's going to have a Mac or an iPhone or a PC. Like, everybody comes from different places. But a Zoom is a multi-platform, internet-based communication software, so I think that's probably your best bet. But if you guys have other options, absolutely do what you got to do. In those groups, you're going to pick somebody each time you meet, a different person each time, and that person is going to complete this progress form, which is right here. And so that is going to be uploaded to this discussion board, and you guys are going to talk about kind of how your small group went. The first one that went is going to be like last week, we just figured out all the kinks, everyone's anxious, blah, blah, blah. But as you go forward, you're going to have assignments in here as well, with always the overarching assignment being your final project, which is to have like a conflict role play and talk about how to do conflict resolution. So that's the small group and the dyad. The bigger group, the large group classroom, is really going to be for your discussion book posts. So if you go back to week 2 and you scroll down here, you guys are going to talk about your family and your group, like your origin story of groups. What was your first group was going to be your family. What was that? What did that teach you about groups? Did you learn to be shy? Did you learn to be seen and not heard? Did you learn that everyone gets to yell and have emotions and everyone can be expressive? It's just your starting off point. Obviously, you've changed since you were 5 years old learning groups, but that's just what we're going to talk about this week. Those are the 3 different types of communications we have. So instead of a classroom, you talk in the pairs, you talk in your small group, and you talk in the discussion board. Your week 2 assignment is going to be your emotional intelligence paper. If you have questions about that, feel free to give me an email, or if you want to talk on the phone, just let me know. We can set up a time. I just want to make sure you guys knew about the different ways you were interacting with each other, because I know that there's a little bit of animosity about the lack of structure about it. So I want to make sure you guys feel safe. If you have any other questions, please email me, and we will figure it out from there. Thanks. Bye.